Yes, we had a very successful session, I think, on the idea of a Rome-based Rome partnership for disaster risk management. The idea is to explore how the three agencies based in Rome, the three UN agencies, FAO, WFP, and IFAD, how the three agencies can work better together in the area of disaster risk management, how they can integrate disaster risk management into both their own work programs as well as into new, perhaps joint work programs. This is quite significant because the three agencies do not necessarily always work together, although they are all in the same sector. We are talking about agriculture and food security, as well as rural development. So here we are, after a good session, I think, and where we discussed with a good audience on the usefulness of such a partnership, as well as the contents and what the expectations are. And again, I think the feedback is that yes, such a partnership could add value because it would be more than the sum of its parts. It would be a partnership that could be perhaps credible with governments because, again, more than one agency says certain things, that a partnership would be more credible than the single agency. It could be salient, again, if this partnership focuses on the gaps in response, on the gaps in development, on the gaps in the current approaches to disaster risk management. And it could be perhaps legitimate as well, such a partnership, if the partnership ultimately responds to the demands from governments and is ultimately owned by governments. So much to the intro. I want to pass on to Stefan Baas from FAO to give a little bit of a perspective from FAO.
FAO's mandate is related to agricultural development and food security, not particularly on disaster risk reduction, but natural hazards influence, of course, agricultural production very often, and so it's an implicit issue for us to address. In the past, however, this has not been done very systematically, rather scattered in different divisions and subsectoral entry points we have in FAO, such as fisheries, livestock, forestry, and agriculture, crop production. And more recently, we have initiated within FAO an informal, at the technical level, an informal working group on disaster risk reduction, which wants within FAO work better together on disaster risk reduction, but also broaden out to other partners. So this opportunity to work on the issue together with WFP and with IFAD is a great opportunity, institutionally, but also technically, because I think the mandates or the related but nevertheless different mandates of the three agencies are highly complementary to address issues like improved livelihood assessment or needs assessment in the agricultural sectors, as well as risk transfer mechanisms, microfinance for disaster risk reduction. So I see technically big scope if we link that also with our mandates, particularly in FAO, of data provision, data collection, and as was mentioned in our session just before, to help unlock data for the use in the context of microinsurance or microcredit. It may be a big step ahead if we move on this partnership. I pass on now to my colleague Michael Hamp from IFAD.
Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, what IFAD brings into this partnership, this new partnership of the three Rome-based UN organizations, is deriving from IFAD's mandate, and this is developing rural livelihoods, focusing on the rural poor, the poorest of the poor, indigenous people, women and the youth in rural areas. And one major activity or field of activity for IFAD is developing the rural finance sector. rural finance sector includes not only in providing credits for the rural poor for working in the agricultural sector or in rural off-farm businesses, but also to provide access to other kind of financial services. And the demand for risk mitigation instruments, financial instruments, is huge. And this is, so to say, our contribution into this partnership, plus then the technical contributions of the World Food Programme and the FAO, I think would then really create the synergy, the value added of each organization into that partnership. That's IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and with that I go back to Ulrich Hess from the World Food Programme.
Yeah, thanks. I want to finish by giving a little bit the angle of the World Food Programme, an agency, or actually a program, obviously, that is not necessarily known for its disaster risk reduction focus. Obviously, it's about food aid ultimately, but the new strategic objective of WFP is to prevent and mitigate disasters in addition to responding to disasters. So in this partnership, the WFP hopes to learn a lot from the expertise of IFAD and FAO, because simply we have not yet the skills and the competencies to work effectively in this area. Definitely we need to work in this partnership with the other two agencies to create something, I think, new, that is both new for us, but also perhaps for the other two. So, voila, that's what I would like to end with. Thank you.